Hey, what's going on, crypto people? It is the Crypto Siege with another day in the life, in the crazy life of the digital asset space. Good morning. Happy Friday to you. Listen, this is your XRP Ripple daily news. In around 0 to 10 minutes, Hugo Philian comes out with some further clarification, if you will, to the recent blog on the distribution of the Spark token. We're going to get into that as well. You guys know I did a live stream last night for over an hour talking about how we even got to this particular situation with the changes to the original distribution plan. And I got to just tell you personally that I do not agree with, certainly definitely not option two, but the great thing is we'll get to we'll get to make our choices. I don't agree with option two. I don't agree that less of the Spark token being distributed to incentivize utility is best for the overall ecosystem. I do not agree with that. I think that we have to get away from this, it's really a buy and hold mentality. This is a different animal. This is a different mechanism. This is about promoting utility and bringing utility to the XRP ledger. It's not about buying an asset and just holding on to it. Oh wow, it's a lesser supply, and then when this thing goes up, cool, awesome. It's not about that. That distribution is a reward or incentivized mechanism for utility. Those who use the Spark token, delegating votes, minting F assets, etc., will be benefited and rewarded. The more you're able to use, brings utilities to the XRP ledger and allows you to be rewarded. If there's less to be used, there's less utility. That's the way I understand it. So if I'm wrong, please correct me. Please give me a response in the comments, but that is my understanding. The Spark distribution is about utility, bringing utility to the XRP ledger, taking our game to another level beyond this hold the tokens, put it on a ledger, and just let's get rich a few years later because we simply just held it. This is about next level utility. All right, guys, so Hugo put something out on Twitter. It's interesting stuff. My thoughts on distribution governance. It's unknown how many people Slant Spark would be affected by taxation or even care about it. If it is a very large amount of the recipients, this would have a large effect on the ecosystem. Governance deals with this unknown nicely by allowing it to be quantified and expressed democratically. Regarding option one, it is unknown at this point how exchanges would deal with the burn mechanism. It is unknown. We don't know how they're going to do, what they're going to do with it. This is why last night I said, you should have a team around you in preparation for this. You're not gonna know everything step 1 through 10. There's still going to be unknowns. Whether we come up with these different options or not, there's still going to be unknowns. What you can do is prepare yourself, and we can't get to some kind of answer that's going to satisfy everyone. We just can't. All we can do is be best prepared. In my opinion. So again, certainly I hope you guys take advantage of this opportunity to participate in governance as a community. Don't just let it slide. Don't just feel as though you deciding and choosing doesn't matter. It does matter. Participate. And so I'm going to go over there's a guy on here named Benny on Twitter that kind of laid it out. Basically, he laid out exactly what Mickey B. Fresh and Patty B. XRP laid out on their live stream last night. Yeah, so Mickey B. Fresh and Patty B. XRP, they laid it out last night really well, and they did a live stream and they did ask the questions. Certainly did ask for questions there. So I'm going to go over, this is really, really good, but option 2 was something that I'm very, very concerned about. Very, very concerned. Hugo says option 2 is the equivalent of dropping the total supply at the outset, but the FTSO returns will be based on the present 100 billion until the distribution total is changed. Hence, the opportunity to gain additional spark as a percentage of the total at the outset is even larger. Option 2 is the equivalent of dropping the total supply at the outset, but the FTSO returns will be based on the preset, okay, I said present, but the FTSO returns will be based on the preset 100 billion until slant if the distribution total is changed. Hence, the opportunity to gain additional spark as a percentage of the total at the outset is even larger. If option 2 is triggered, the total initial supply going to all recipients, including Flare Foundation, including Flare, the company, the foundation, etc., would be 15 billion. So 2 different entities. So total supply would be 15 billion. That includes Flare Networks and the foundation. This isn't a scheme to change the distribution percentages between parties. Okay, so let's go over what Benny had to say here. So that's an interesting thing there, that the Flare, the company, and then the foundation, 2 different entities from what I'm reading, what that 15 billion would be, they would be included in that 15 billion. So yeah, all right, let's go over Benny's thing here. If I can find it. Here it is right here. Again, this is written out pretty much exactly what Mickey B. Fresh and Patty XRP shared on their live stream. The team behind Flare Networks has decided to apply a governance vote to let early Spark token holders decide about the Spark distribution method after network launch, right? And just shout out to Hugo, right? Good guy. The team is awesome. It's unfortunate that it even has to come to this type of thing. But the good part about it is now, you know, the community can kind of vote on the deal. And I think ultimately it's probably, you know, some people who, you know, who just tend to get something and put it on a ledger will, you know, have to, you know, open up their laptops and do some reading for themselves, right? Do some reading for themselves. Hopefully that will happen. And so they can kind of get better informed and, you know, maybe really truly understand what Flare is instead of just, oh, I just got some free money. So the team behind Flare Networks has decided to apply a governance vote to let early Spark token holders decide about the Spark distribution method after network launch. In this thread, I try to gather available information to answer questions and provide some clarity. So Flare Networks just published a blog informing the community about the recent change to the distribution plan, right? We covered that. Mickey B. Fresh and Patty XRP encourage you to definitely listen to their latest live stream on this issue. Encourage you strongly to go listen to that. This change adds 2 more available options for early Spark holders to vote on, right? The governance vote will be held during the first 5 months after the network launch. Again, Mickey B. Fresh and Patty XRP covered this in the video really, really well. However, the vote could be over faster than that if a majority threshold or Spark tokens being used by Spark holders to vote gets behind one of the new given options. I don't know what he means by being used, right? So everyone's going to have some Spark, but you got to delegate them to vote, right? You got to delegate, right? You got to delegate them to vote. Again, in my opinion, option 2 makes 0 sense, in my opinion. This is not a supply and demand, buy and hold ecosystem. It's not Bitcoin. It's a different ecosystem. The more that you have, the more you're able to delegate and the more you're able to vote and participate in governance. And in addition to that, provide utility to the XRP ledger, right? You're in a position to participate in governance, less tokens, less participation in the governance. So that's how I see it. However, the vote could be over faster if a majority threshold of Spark tokens being used by Spark holders to vote gets behind one of the new given options. And again, I welcome if your understanding is different than mine, I'd love to hear that. So before we talk about the different options available, let's recap the latest Spark token and distribution methods. 100 billion Spark, inflation rate by minting rewards for network participants, 10% per year, can be changed by a governance vote. The initial Spark supply would be distributed over time as follows: 38 billion to the holders, 25 billion to Flare Networks Limited, 20 billion to the Flare Foundation, right? So it is two different entities, the company and a foundation. 12 billion to General F Assets Participation Reward Pool, 5 billion dedicated Litecoin Participation Rewards Pool. The initial plan was to distribute only 15% of the above stated amounts upon network launch. 15%. 15 billion. After the plan was to distribute, the plan was to distribute the remaining 15%. After that, the plan was to distribute the remaining 85% of Spark tokens slowly over time at 3% per month. This applies to all above mentioned receivers of Spark tokens, all the above mentioned. Now, the newly announced governance vote comes into play, and it will decide whether or not this distribution plan will be changed or not. So let's take a look at the different options available to vote on. In total, there are 3 distribution options available. The default option, the original one, no changes. Option 1, buy through burn. Okay, buy through burn. Option 2, distribution halt. What do they mean and what are the differences? Number 1, option 1, as the name suggests, not option 1, but number 1, as the name suggests, the default option is the distribution plan explained above, with 15% of tokens being distributed upon the network launch, and 3% of the remaining 85% being distributed each following month. Okay, that's the original one. You're not going to be able to vote on that one though, right? You cannot vote on the default option. It's already in play, right? It will be used if none of the other 2 options can establish a majority vote before the 5-month voting period ends. The first new option is similar to the default option. So the first option, the first new option is similar to the default option, but adds one detail to it, which might have important implications regarding U.S. tax regulation. Now, that's the one that I'm going to be voting on, right? I'm going to be voting on option 1, right? Not number 1 in this explanation. That's the default option. But when it comes to the governance vote, it's option 1. That's the one I will be voting on. The first new option is similar to the default option, but adds one detail to it, which might have important implications regarding United States tax regulations. U.S. tax regulations, not Europe, not UK. U.S. tax implications. If option 1 wins the governance vote after the initial 15-cent token distribution, Spark holders will have to burn a small percentage of their received tokens. So you're gonna have to burn some of the thing that was given to you for free to be eligible to receive their remaining 85% of tokens over time. Again, at 3% per month. And also understand that, from my understanding, choosing option one, it also gives people the opportunity, right? If option one wins, then you can opt out. If you voted option two, it didn't work out for you, right? Option one ended up winning out, or getting the majority, right? Then you can opt out of the future distributions. That is my understanding. You can just opt out. Like, no, I'm good. Taxes scare me. I'm good. I'm concerned about taxes. You just opt out. Makes sense to me. You don't have to worry about, future stuff coming up, right? or the three-letter boys, right? If that gives you some peace, right? I'm happy for you. Get your peace, right? Get the peace. All right. So again, option one, if option one wins the governor's vote after the initial 15% token distribution, Spark holders will have to burn a small percentage of the received tokens to be eligible to receive. In other words, again, more choices in option one. If you don't burn them, you don't get the future distributions. Again, Spark tokens, totally blessed to be able to get this for free. And right, if you don't burn them, you didn't fully participate, right? So, and I think for me, option one just makes more and more sense. The more I hear and read about it. Okay, one more time. Option one wins the governor vote after initial 15% token distribution. Spark holders you'll have to burn a small percentage of the received tokens to be eligible to receive the remaining 85% of tokens over time, again at 3% per month. Flare Network states the legal research commissioned argues that the remaining distribution would then have been purchased by burning. It somehow designates it as being purchased, and thus the further remaining distribution, and thus subject to capital gains tax upon sale. Instead of income tax upon receipt. It's a big difference. Income tax upon receipt is significantly different than capital gains tax upon the sale. It's a big difference. Right? Got short term, you got long term. Again, the whole ecosystem behind Spark token and what they put together was about utility. It was about providing utility, participation in the governance, minting XRP, not about getting something and holding on to it and waiting for the market to say it has some value so that you can then go sell it. That was just never the intention of it. It's just never the intention. And, for me in the Crypto Siege's home, it's about moving beyond 2017. DeFi is about moving past and beyond 2017. And just coming in, throwing a few dollars into something and just expecting to be told, I'm a millionaire now. So option two, says Benny, if option two wins the governance vote after the initial 15% token distribution, if option two wins the governance vote after the initial 15% token distribution, then the initial total supply of 100 billion Spark tokens will be reduced to 15 billion. And I would just argue less Spark token equals less participation in governance and less utility overall. I think it sets up a bad mentality of just buying. It just pushes to the forefront this mentality In fact, this is not, you're not even buying it, right? But just buy, I'm just going to buy, I'm just going to hold it, and I'm just going to wait for it to go up. Right? I remember people kicking and screaming before Flare Networks, kicking and screaming. Oh, what's going to happen to my XRP? Yeah, I mean, what's going to happen if they take a snapshot? Is it going to be gone? Is it going to be stolen? Are they going to take my XRP? All of these different things. Like, again, this is not 2017, 2016. People aren't out to get you. Again, my recommendation is, even before Flare Networks was even thought of, right? We all should have a wealth team around us protecting our assets and not scared of 3-letter people. You don't have to be afraid of the alphabets in the United States. Just get prepared, be prepared. Make a phone call. Then, make a second one to get a second opinion. Spend a few dollars for asset protection. So if option 2 wins, again, the governor's vote after the initial 15% token distribution, if that wins, then the initial total supply of 100 billion Spark tokens will be reduced, gone, to 15 billion. Again, if you can come up with an argument, if you will, friendly, that option 2 is better. If you still believe that this ecosystem, this Flare Networks ecosystem is about supply and demand, like Bitcoin, the 21 million. If you think it's that, share with me in the comments why you think that is. I don't think it's that way. Therefore, no more Spark tokens will be distributed in the following months. This makes option 2 equivalent to receiving 100% of your Spark token distribution on day number 1, as this will reduce the distribution, amount of all shareholders. This will reduce the distribution amount of all shareholders. XRP holders, Flare Next the company, Flare Foundation. The F asset pool is going to be reduced. And the dedicated Litecoin F participation reward pool will be reduced. The F asset participation reward pool will be reduced. For me, in the Crypto Sieges home, me no likey option number 2. Not in the least bit. All right, so, all right, let's see. All right. Here it is. If option 2 wins the vote, Benny is very cleverly, in my opinion, stating which one he thinks is best. So if option 2 wins the vote, this will be the initial and final. You see how he's got and in all capital letters there. Final distribution upon network launch, 5.7 to XRP holders, 5.7 billion instead of the 15 billion or whatever it was, the 38 billion. It goes from 38 billion to 5.7 billion. If you choose option 2. I love you guys. I'm welcoming the comments on why option 2 makes more sense. I don't see how 38 billion to 5.7 billion makes more sense, but hey, help me out. Help me to better understand that. XRP holders from 38 billion to 5.7 billion. All right, and then it says what Flare Networks is going to get. It says what the Flare Foundation is going to have, and so on. 1.8 billion in the rewards pill. rewards pool. And the rewards pool, if option 2 wins, 1.8 billion, down from 12 billion. Rewards pool. Who does it reward? The people who have the courage to take their stuff out of the ledger world and participate. How about that? And participate in governance and ecosystem. That's who it rewards. Who does it, in essence, penalize? Those who don't want to participate and just want to hang out and wait for asset appreciation. It rewards participation and penalizes this hodl that mode, wait for asset appreciation. It promotes governance participation. That's what the system was set up and built around. Participating, getting involved, going to flare.xyz, becoming more educated in the ecosystem. It's going to go from 12 billion, if you choose option 2, 12 billion in the, you see what it says there? Participation reward pool. $12 billion all the way down to 1.8 billion. And people are talking about supply and demand. Like, I love you, but you're missing it. You're missing it. More participation is a good thing for governance. Like, it's our ecosystem. Philian Networks has blessed us with this ecosystem where we can participate. So, as you can see, if option 2 wins the governance vote, every participating entry of the initial distribution will receive less Spark tokens upon launch, as the whole initial total supply is reduced. This means you will receive less Spark tokens as you have calculated before, but the value of each Spark token will increase as the total supply is limited by 85%. Now, that I agree, I disagree with. It doesn't mean that it's going to increase. But this is what Benny states here. Some people suggested to distribute 100% of Spark tokens upon launch, keeping the initial total supply of 100 billion. This does not make sense. If 100% are distributed on day 1, there would be no need for a governance vote anymore to decide about the distribution plan. Yeah, Spark token, we're blessed to be able to get it. Although some believe that, hey, look, you shoved this down my throat. I didn't ask for it. I didn't want it. Blah, 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 blah. What are my taxes? All that kind of stuff. Anyway, I'm not going to get into that. If 100% distributed on day 1, there would be no need for governance vote anymore to decide about the distribution plan. I hope I was able to shed some light onto this topic that seems to cause a lot of confusion already. Please excuse me if I made any mistakes myself. I'm just sharing my current understanding. Again, I collected my information from the Philian Networks blog and white paper links. And again, my overall thing, again, is I don't believe in this increase because there's less of a supply. I don't believe that. This is about participating. The rewards is in participating, not holding. The reward is in participating. I mean, just look at these numbers. If option 2 wins, the amount of distribution to XRP holders goes to 5.7 billion from 38 billion. The more that you participate, the more you get. The more votes you delegate, the more Spark token you get. The more that you have, the greater the rewards. The greater the rewards. Unless you're not going to participate. If you're not going to participate, you're going to choose option 2. If you just see this as free cash, this is about participating in an ecosystem. In my humble opinion, and I do welcome your comments, and I'm going to do a live stream about this later on. I got to run out here to an appointment. Guys, I hope this makes sense for you. I hope that you'll take some time to learn more about it. Definitely watch Patty XRP and Mickey B Fresh live stream that they did on this last night to get a better understanding. I don't think there's anyone besides probably Crypto Eddie who knows as much about what's going on with Philian networks than those two guys there. Get yourself educated, learn more about it, participate. This is not 2017 where you just buy something, you just hold it, lock it away. This is about participating. This is about learning in this ecosystem, what governance truly means and how you can participate. As for me, and in the Crypto Siege's home, I wish that we did not even have to get to this place. The good part about it is it's a possibility for participation. It's a possibility for people to actually participate and vote. We'll see how that goes. I know that J.C. Collins did a, and I think it's in here, but I think J.C. Collins did an initial vote about this already. Here it is here. Like and retweet the below. We need to show flares. There are many who would prefer the original Spark distribution plan. At least give us the opportunity to vote on keeping it. We should each deal with any tax implications individually ourselves. I know one of the people, Mickey B Fresh's channel last night in the chat said, please understand that, not everyone is in the US and has to deal with this stuff, So in any case, that is the deal there. I forget where his vote is, but there was he did actually do a vote. And I believe last I checked, let's see if I can find it. Let's see if I can find it real quick. There it is here. Which option for Spark distribution? Question. Option 1, burn some of the initial 50% to get the rest distributed. Option 2, burn 85%. Here it is. Option 3, keep original distribution. 51.7% keep the original. Now, the way it's set up, that's not even a choice to keep the original. It's set up that option 1 or option 2 has to win by the majority. Has to win by a majority, whatever that is. So we're going to see. I just hope that we can have more talk, because I think this misnomer about less of the Spark means it's better for the overall ecosystem. And I just wholeheartedly disagree, but I am welcome to having a conversation about it. We'll talk more about this in the live stream. All right, guys, listen, have a great day. Thank you so much for hanging. Remember, old money doesn't want you to win, but that's okay though, because you and I are already winning. I'll see you later on today, guys. See ya. Bye.